welcome back everyone to the Order of Remembrance. I am Arianna Apparicio, founder of Arianna by Design, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host,
Amickoleh Imani, founder of On the Cusp Wellness.
Yes, and together we are talking about identity this month in Arianna by Design. Amickoleh Imani talks about it in her modality on Cusp Wellness with soul design and identity reconstruction, if you will.
Yeah.
And we were really interested in delving into how the age of AI will play into human identity. And we really thought it was a very interesting topic. So that is the episode for today. And Amickoleh, if you want to start us off with either the question or the documentary, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think we can start with the documentary. I feel like that was the initial impetus to even bring this conversation to the forefront. I don't remember why. I think I just told you about it just because I know we're both like very much interested in the development of AI and things like that. And so I had that documentary, like kind of had it saved for a while. And then one day I was okay, let me watch this. Let me see what this is actually talking about. And I just found it to be so eye-opening. And I didn't even realize at the time when I had suggested it to you, I wasn't aware that this was a topic that you were delving into, conversations around identity and also how that plays a role in the age of AI and all the developments. And for me, my initial hunch, if you will, as AI has continued to grow and evolve so quickly, is that it is an opportunity for us to really reconcile whatever wounding or damage or disconnection around our intuition, because that is, we all see, at least me, I see them probably more so than the average person because of just the types of content and things that I watch on certain platforms. And I'm specifically talking about on YouTube, how I see all these like AI generated ads and like content. My mom sends me certain things and I can spot it immediately. I'm like, oh, this is AI. And it's interesting because the more I see these, I'm like having to squint a little harder and like, is that AI? Is this a real person?
It's getting really good at emulating like humanity. Yeah, it really is.
And I feel like that's the invitation, is as AI becomes smarter, more realistic, it's, can you really decipher and discern what's real from what's artificially intelligenated?
Which is there. That's, I mean,
so
I
that's
think
my notion, around like, what is AI, how is it going to challenge us to evolve? And what I really enjoyed about that documentary, and it's like I think the title is like the AI documentary, and then it has that subtitle like how to become an apocalyptimist. That's one of the reasons why I appreciated that documentary so much, because I felt like it gave a very raw, and I feel like it gave space for everybody to speak their piece, and then you, as the observer, you get to kind of reconcile your own maybe assumptions or revelations, and then also seeing the documentarian, having him and his wife go through their own processing of all the information that was essentially shared in the documentary. I thought it was like really refreshing because you got the realness of it. It wasn't trying to sell us on any one way. It was really just presenting all the information and being like, okay, now, what are you going to do with it, essentially, as the viewer of this documentary? And I think that is I believe, as we are stepping into this age of AI and there's so much, what's the word, sensationalism around it, it's really an opportunity for us to not jump into the hype either way, whether you're pro or quote unquote against, and really an opportunity to sharpen our skills of discernment. And one thing that you talk a lot about, which I think is becoming more and more evident, that like we really are stepping into that era, like really tapping more into our emotional body, into the emotional era, and our emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
Because that, I feel like, is going to be one of our differentiators in this very technologically, you know artificial intelligence, quote unquote, space.
Yeah. I couldn't, not only do I understand that perspective, but because you introduced me to this movie, I also understood where I fell because with me, you were having like a joke about it, right? Like I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, what is I was like, obviously the nerd came out of me, right? Like I was like, okay, so apocalypse means the people who just think the end is near every time something happens, and then the optimist would be someone who's just always seen the brighter side despite the warning signs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what is apocalypse? I was like, so you're optimistic about the end of the world? Like you're just like,
That's what
it
it
is.
sounds like,
That's what it
right?
sounds like, right?
It
And I'm just
does.
like, I'm not letting my Latin root. I'm not going back to English. Like I'm not going into Latin root, Hebrew root of this. I'm just like, what is this? Because when
Mm-hmm.
you introduced that word to me, I was just like, humanity is really, really interesting. I was like, we will
Love a
combine
label,
words,
honey.
and it makes sense, when you
Yeah.
hear it to the ear. But I just wanted to give our viewers just some context on the movie really quick. So I just
Mm-hmm.
was pulling up a summary while you were
Oh,
speaking.
okay. Yeah.
So the AI doc, or How to Become an Apocalyptimist, is a 2026 documentary that examines the tension between catastrophic AI risk and its potential for positive transformation, advocating for a human first approach to technology. The film encourages rejecting passive despair, promoting the apocalyptimist mindset to actively shape a safer future through regulation and ethical oversight. Um, and it was co-directed by Daniel Rower, who previously directed the Oscar-winning documentary Naval Knee. I never saw that, and Charlie Terrell. But when you said this, interesting when you said like, oh, it's just to kind of look at AI where you can be an optimist towards AI, but you can still kind of know like we need ethical oversight over it, we need guardrails around it. It's not until I really looked at it that I realized how optimistic I was towards AI and how
Mm-hmm.
because it feels like more realism to me. I guess when we
Mm-hmm.
talked about, like you mentioned before, I was big on talking about this maybe last year about how we're going into we're leaving out of the logical era and we're going into the emotional era, which centers around human identity, ironically enough. With us leaving, or my hypothesis around us leaving the logical era and going into the emotional era, the irony of humans trying to find themselves, I the foundation for me, I guess the confidence for me comes from the fact that, there's never been a species on the planet that has ever been replaced. I mean, we talk about dinosaurs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen yet one species replace them. And it's, I think it's going to challenge humanity to become the best part of humanity. And that is what I wrote about in my book, right? That the logical order had to come because we were once whether you look at the Garden of Eden, or when we left, I would say when we left Eden, or any type of origin story where it's just like we started primordial in a way, and we started
Mm-hmm.
really like animalistic, very primal, very
Yeah.
hunter gatherer to survive. And then as our consciousness grew, we started going to into logical spaces, which is our organization, our analytics, our data, our judicial system, our societies, the way that we build, the way that we
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalize and organize. And that's great because it got us here, right? It got us the
Right.
internet, it got us law, it got us human rights, the UN, it got us governments, it got us a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of like even more intricate and minute bodies like council and state and senate and so on and so forth. But we never, philosophy has always asked this question, which I think is so great because as we're going into humanity, I feel like we're doing this Ouroboros type of thing, where
Mm.
if you don't know, Ouroboros is like the snake that eats itself, where it's just like you start from
Mm.
oh, well, humanity was primal before and we had to evolve. It's like, yeah, but isn't it so weird that we have become so much more conscious and so much more evolved, but that same question has remained consistent of what is a human being? What are we? Why are we here? And AI for me just makes us bring that question back into the forefront, which is what I was talking about last week, to where the emotional era that we're getting into really has humans, I believe, starting to go in to say, what am I if I'm not the smartest person in the room? What am I if my intelligence is no longer uniquely mine? So if there's a machine, and I equate this back to the Industrial Revolution because a lot of people, I always tell people that when we're talking about AI, it's like, this is our Industrial Revolution, right? Like when our
Mm,
parents were going, when our great grandparents were going through it, they were like, machines are going to take our jobs and there's not going to be any more oil rigging or gold mining or everything like that because now the strongest person in the room was a machine. It was no longer a human being. It was no longer a horse, for example. An engine, we call it horsepower, but the engine took over the horse. So now it's just like, no,
mhm,
none of these animals can do what machines can do.
mhm,
We survived past it. And not only did we survive past it, we thrived past it.
mhm,
Now we're in this AI thing that reminds I wasn't alive back then. I can only imagine the fear and the curiosity that would have come where it's just like, now AI is going to take what? All the doctor jobs, all the accounting jobs, all the construction jobs, all the blueprinting jobs, all the teaching jobs.
mhm.
And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, yeah, but this is not a pattern that we haven't seen human history go through before. And if history proves anything, is that we come out on the better side for it. It doesn't mean that obviously we won't go through um, what they call birthing pains, right? Like we'll
Mhm,
go through the fact that the technology is new. There'll be people here to exploit it. There'll be people who are here who, without the technologies or not, the intention of a human being comes down to the intent of a human being. If you look to rob someone, you're going to use whatever tool in your disposal to do it. So there
mhm,
are humans that are still like that who don't understand, I guess, the karmic cycle of hurting
mhm.
someone else or robbing from someone else or looking to, defame or devalue someone else coming right back to you, which again, the emotional era starts to touch on a lot. But if you have that intent of your heart to do that, AI is just another tool in which you're going to do it. It's not going to stop or start people to do that anymore. They've already been doing that from God knows how long. Um, but when we look at where AI is going, I really do feel like we're going through the birth pains of it and we are now with identity crisis, so to speak. We're human. Philosophers have always asked this question, but a lot of people haven't really thought of philosophy in this way, right? Like philosophy comes more
Mhm,
like an art. Like, oh, you
mhm.
have time to think about God when you're at peace. You have time to
Yeah.
think about the universe when you're not at war. You have time to think about your place in the cosmos when you're rich, right? Like that's usually,
Mhm.
it was always like a luxury type of thing. And I'm just like, no, actually, a lot of philosophers were pretty poor. A lot of
Yeah.
philosophers got excommunicated. A lot of philosophers got killed and hanged and murdered for the questions they dared ask about the cosmos and the universe. And philosophy is getting such a bright light on it because as humanity starts to go through this identity crisis, um, it's something that I've always been confident in. I tell humans to stand confident in it. Whereas, like, we've
Mhm,
been asking from the very beginning of our existence, what is a human being and why are we here? AI doesn't make that question disappear. If anything, it brings us back to become even better or even more evolved versions of ourselves. Saying, man, we were the smartest people in the room once. It's not with AI, we're not. AI is going to be the intelligence of humanity. It's going to be the intelligence of probably the whole planet beyond any
mhm,
animal that we know. If you feel like humanity is going to then be either submissive to this thing or it's going to be a subcategory of species to this thing, I just think it's a lack of confidence at this point. That again, when you love human beings, you know from a core elemental standpoint that nothing will replace us.
yeah,
And AI
yeah.
was just honestly just take all the leg room out of it because humanity never came down. At least for me, Amickoleh, you can say for you, I never needed my friend to be the smartest person in the room. I never needed my parents that I love to be the smartest people who were Einstein geniuses or whatever. It's just like, it's not what loving humanity is about. Like, it's never
Mhm,
been about who was smarter than you. Like, we always knew, I think, that we were leading to this future where
mhm.
it's like, hey, listen, to think is work. And to, if there's anything we know about human beings, that the more that we work is the more we're going to look for machines to do the work for us. So I was like, to think about all these solutions is work and it's energy. And as humanity evolves, we're going to always look for the things that help us work easier and more efficient. And I guess that's where I come in with AI and us leaving logical intelligence AI, or I'll say this, there's AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, and then there's the AI that they're wanting to come about, which is artificial super intelligence. And that's going to be the thing that really basically makes all thinking jobs of humanity just go completely extinct. And with ASI, I really do believe that humanity, with the proper guardrails, obviously, with the proper ethical guidelines, we will be able to usher in what has made us human way better and way deeper and more nuanced than what we've ever had it before. And that's where the emotional era comes in. Because it's like no
Yes.
matter how much you're smart or how much you're a genius, there's still people who get angry for no reason. There's still people who have emotional immaturity. There's still people who have emotional regularity. And that, I believe, makes us more human in the way that we connect and interact than anything that someone could say 2 plus 2 is. It's like
Mm-hmm.
2 plus 2 is great, but if you're sitting here and you're depressed, I care more about you and depression than I care about if you can solve calculus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So just to piggyback off of what you shared, I feel a lot of um, sentiments, similar sentiments in what you've expressed, and also feeling like, you were saying how if the majority of people feel like AI is going to like overtake them or overthrow them or whatever, that surfaces a lack of confidence. And I feel like it is a lack of confidence, but even more than that, it's going to highlight the what's the word? I just had the word lack of personal sovereignty that people already
Oh,
feel in their day-to-day lives. That's
okay.
why it's so easy for people to kind of check out into these routines. You get up, you go to work, to get the kids, do that. You just have like this rote rhythm
Yeah,
that you're
sure.
in, right?
Mhm.
And it is to it takes you out of thinking, it takes you out of the creativity, it takes you out of the, because you have this rhythm that you follow and it's predictable. It creates a very
Mm,
predictable experience, which is not bad, right? But if we're coming into an era now that's kind of really requiring us to be a little bit more sharper, to be on our toes, to be a little bit more, you know, reading in between the lines and being able to discern and being able to not take everything at face value, I feel like that's where AI really is going to surface, people who have essentially abdicated their sovereignty due
mm,
to societal expectations or the societal infrastructure at large. And I feel like those are the people who are going to be more susceptible or more inclined to fear AI, because it threatens, and we're talking about identity, it threatens a level of their identity where they have essentially abdicated, you know, an existence beyond just the day to day. And so there
yeah,
is going to
absolutely.
be this awakening that needs to happen, that I feel like 2020 essentially kind of spearheaded. If you weren't already on some kind of spiritual or personal growth path, you know, during the pandemic, it definitely questioned. We were left to question all of our spirituality. We didn't have nothing to do but sit with ourselves. So we had everything was coming up to the surface. And I feel like
Mm,
with the manifestation of AI and on this larger scale, it's only going to amplify, human behavior, conditioning patterns, etc. So I feel like now is the time to educate ourselves and to learn wherever you are in your world, your reality, however much access you have to some of these tools and resources, which is why I like listening to podcasts episodes about this kind of stuff, or I like watching documentaries. I like, okay, what are these companies trying to do? And now every SaaS, every company out there that makes anything is integrating AI, and I'm okay. Well,
mhm.
how are they using it? What are they doing with it? Just trying to keep some sort of pulse on how all these things are shifting and moving, and even asking myself, like, and that was one of the things that I actually took away. One of the biggest things I took away from that documentary. Somebody on there was like, well, if you don't want it to go in a direction that makes you quote unquote feel uncomfortable, then like do something about it. Like this is your opportunity to like learn
Absolutely.
about these systems, like get a certification, like, this is just as much your right to educate yourself and figure out, okay, well, how am I going to utilize this to my benefit? Because I don't want to see it, going into this apocalyptic way, or, whatever the case may be. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's true. Like, and then I started looking at these companies a little bit differently. Like, are they, what kind of programs are they offering? Or like, what kind of jobs are they offering that are around, AI modeling and agentic this, that, and the third? Because if anything, let me get into place in one of these spaces to try to make a difference, try to see if my contribution into this space can be on a side that I feel proud of, the side that I'm like, no, if we're gonna, it's here. There's no like, and that's what the biggest thing that they were saying in the documentary. There's no like pulling the plug on this. Like it's here. Like we have
Absolutely.
far past like now, and they talk
Absolutely.
about that
It's
in the
a
documentary.
race now. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's a race
Yeah.
against other countries. It's a race against other civil. Like it's a full on thing right now on multiple different levels.
Well, they
And
said
so,
our version of the moon landing. Like this is
yeah,
our race. Yeah. This
it's
generation's race for sure.
absolutely. And so right now, the call to action is, where can you fit in? Where can you get in? How do you want to show up in this space? How do you want to contribute? And I think that's
Mhm.
really, um, that's all of our, so going back to the sovereignty thing, that's all within our claiming our sovereignty and making sure, okay,
Absolutely.
if you don't like the way the direction is going, then what are you doing about it? Because just sitting on at home complaining on Twitter about how the government is doing this and this company is doing that, you know, it's like the same people who get mad at Jeff Bezos for how he run. Well, you start a multi-billion-dollar company and you do something different. You don't like how he treated his employees. You do something. You do be better. Okay, like go do better,
It's
be
true.
better.
It's
Otherwise, what
true.
are we talking about?
It's
Like,
very, very true. I agree.
I take that same positioning with AI. It's like, if you're afraid, learn about it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't know how it works, learn about it.
And to that point as well, humanities is one of my favorite subjects. It's the reason behind everything that I do.
Yes.
And just my love for humanity. And I don't think there's a couple of things that you brought up that really I've sat with a lot. I've thought about, contemplated, hypothesized, went back to the lab, tested, came back, was like, huh, let's tweak this a little bit. And one of it is that there's three things. One, humanity has a really bad trend of when we don't know something to fear it. I think fear is a obviously not only a appropriate response most of the time, but to fear stuff that you don't understand, while it has to be balanced with something. And
Yeah.
the fear has to be balanced with the unknown fact that you just don't know, right? And if you fear something you don't know, or i.e., you fear AI because you don't study it or this and the third, the logical pathway would be for you to understand it so you can fear it less, right?
Hmm.
But I don't want to say never because that's too much of an absolute word, but there's never there in my study there has hardly been a time where humanity encounters something new and we don't fear it. It doesn't get our praise, it doesn't get our curiosity, like our genuine curiosity. It gets it with like we don't even want to be associated with you until we really know.
Hmm.
But the whole thing is that humanity knows when there is certain humans who say, hey, listen, I'm not going to fear this thing. I am going to delve into it more. I'm going to study it more. I'm going to report back my findings, is what they say in science. I'm going to report back what I find. Um, and when we talk about AI a lot, I really think that a lot of people on the outside, the reason why there's so much skepticism around it, or the reason why there's so much, I guess, like doomsday-ish things around it, is because a lot of times in history, the masses of society are very behind what we say the
Hmm.
leaders of society are doing. It's just like, and I think this this has been the closest we've been in history to where the leaders of these new spaces that we're in come as close to me and you as possible. They don't come from like some elite family that was like ostracized off to the side and purebred for 3 generations to then come out. Sam Altman went to college like the rest of us. You know what I mean? Mo Gadot was someone's uncle or aunt coming from, you know what I mean? Like these people have
Mm-hmm.
been regular people. They have been people who just, their passions and all of their curiosities went into this field. And it just so happened to be the field that is changing humanity's trajectory. And honestly, if you study history a lot, or even if you study media, because me and you are artists in that way, Jetsons and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was talking about this decades ago. Like we honestly, if anything, if you paid attention to some type of pop culture, Star Wars or whatever, how do you expect them to talk to ships in the sky and us to travel the multiverse, let alone this universe, but the multiverse? Like you already know that there is some humans on this planet that for some reason are tapping into consciousness so much that they already saw the future millennia ahead, millennia ahead. So when you don't see, when you study sci-fi, not to really be sci-fi, but almost like, like a genuine, like, oh, is that a
Mm-hmm.
possibility that we could really be here? Is it a possibility that humanity has already been here? Without delving into the weeds too much, AI doesn't surprise you as much as it would another person. Like it doesn't surprise you like, oh yeah, like yeah, AI will be the doctor that you go to see in 30 years. AI will be the lawyer that you consult before you go to court. AI will probably be the judge that you go before and put your case before. And it's not because AI is this superior being or and I think if we're talking about guardrails, that's one of the other things we have to really be sure of is that humans are the only humans are the only thing responsible for becoming human. There's no one else we can pass that responsibility off to, which means if humanity becomes morally bankrupt, if humanity becomes our own extinction event, then that's on us. That's not going to be on AI because AI is learning from us. AI is our child.
Yeah.
It's our child. So AI, if it starts walking around and starts saying, "Oh, AI, why are you attacking me? Because humans been doing it for millennia. That's why I don't feel bad that I'm attacking you because it's just like you guys have been doing it." So you would think with something that can get our intelligence that we would really start to look at our actions and be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we cannot afford to act this way and interact this way with each other, knowing that there's a whole intelligence that is watching us, observing us, and then patterning us. So we're now, if we tell AI, hey, listen, AI, don't go shoot that dog, it's like, but AI's been shooting dogs forever. I mean, humans been shooting dogs forever. So how are you going to
Mm-hmm.
tell me I'm wrong? That is what AI is going to challenge humanity with. And with that challenge, that's where I say I don't see humanity not becoming more evolved and prosperous in that question, where it's just like, yeah, you're right. Because you
Yeah.
know what AI reminds me of? A child.
Mm-hmm.
But they say, do as I say and not as I do. But you know what every child says when they grow up? That is the most horrible advice you could ever give me because I've always done what you've done and I've never done what you said. I've always done what
Mm-hmm.
you've done. That is what AI challenges us with. Where it's like we can no longer say what we do and say what we want for humanity. We have to show it in the forefront. The second point I wanted to bring up was people who are saying that they fear AI a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that because this is what the logical era promoted and what it rewarded. Me and you were having a laugh about this. And I was like, but Amickoleh, like all the people who think that AI is going to take them over, are all the people who are getting paid 8 to 9 figures right now for being the smartest people in the room. So they cannot imagine the thing that they created taking them out
Mm-hmm.
because they put their identity into being smart. They put their identity into solving every equation and figuring out the mathematics and figuring out this code or whatever the case may be. Not every human being on the planet is like that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when creatives started to really go after AI, I was just like, AI is such a powerful tool that can help a creative create dimensions and universes that we could not have done for not for the scale. Like if even if we look at what media is today and the way that people can be in their you can be in your house and come up with a IMAX feature indie film thing on your phone and with AI tools. It's something that we don't have to, it's almost like it becomes so effortless, like the world that you imagine with all these tools at your disposal, especially with AI now culminating all of humanity's intelligence, all of our creativity, you can literally say, hey, listen, I'm imagining something like this. And then let's just say the prompt come up with something and then you just tweak it a little bit. That's still yours. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you're getting the foundation of it better than what people used to say. Hey, listen, like, can you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to describe to you this world I'm envisioning. Like, I don't know if you ever had that conversation with someone where it's like you're trying to describe like a dream to them. And you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, well, in the dream, it's kind of like this, and it's this and the third, and you can only hope and pray that they are imagining it the way that you are. AI comes like a translator or a negotiator in that, where it's just like, okay, how about you tell me the things that stick out to you? I'm gonna show it to this next person, and then you tweak it. So it might
Mm-hmm.
not be perfect, but you tweak it to how you really see it, and it gets perfected with that. It's like, oh, you had a similar dream to someone in Asia, in Indonesia had. Oh yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
similar sun and third. Maybe those symbols mean something. Maybe those colors mean something. It's such a it's such a way of kind of taking out the fact that we don't have to be the most intelligent people in the room anymore. What happens to humanity when intelligence is no longer uniquely our trait? And what happens when intelligence is not the thing that makes us superior, which I think is really humanity's greatest fear. Humanity's greatest fear is that intelligence has always made us the top of the animal kingdom. Oh, why do we own dogs? Because we're smarter than dogs. We train dogs. Why are you above the elephant? Because we're smarter than elephants, and we created the tools in order to basically make the elephant submissive. Okay, but now that AI now has the probability, it's not probability. I think at this point we can all take an educated guess that it will surpass us in intelligence. I think that's something that a lot of experts agree with.
Mm-hmm.
When AI surpasses us in intelligence, wouldn't you think, and I'm going to pass this question to you because I thought about it a lot. I would think that's the time where humanity starts to look like maybe us being different from other things does not mean that we're better than other things. Just because something is smarter than us does not make it better. But humanity has such a pattern of taking our differences, sex, race, religion, tradition, places in the world, continent, countries. We take all our differences and try to make it a hierarchy. And it's not that. You can just be different, not better than me. AI will be different. It will be more intelligent, but does not make AI human. It doesn't mean that they are going to take humanity, or how could it? It's learning everything from us. And the third and last point I wanted to make is that AI will never replace human beings, because it emulates everything we do. We don't know how far, and a lot of experts I think said that in the movie as well. We don't know if humanity will get if AI will become sentient, right? Like if it will really start to emulate love and feel it. That's I think a debate for like maybe 200 down the road, like when they're really starting to go like, oh, like AI ran into the road to save a kid, but was it really hurt? Like, did it really do
Mm-hmm.
that off of risk? Or I think that's for our children's children. But um, while it's here, it's just emulating human emotion. It's emulating in such a way because again, humans live in patterns. We do love some things in love is a universal pattern. A hug all over the world is known as the same thing. No matter what you speak, a hug is a act of care,
Yeah.
an act of warmth, right? It doesn't matter what you speak. AI knows that, it trains on that, and it emulates that. In tone, when it becomes physical, it probably will hug somebody, but to emulate it and to actually embody it are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
AI will never tell you how it learned to hug, but humans will have the, oh yeah, you know where I learned to hug? From my mother. My mother was a hugger. She used to come into my room all the time. AI is not going to have that. And that is the things I think we need to start focusing on when we're talking about the human identity. It's like you live. AI does not live. It was created. You live a life. You are finite. You have experiences. You have values. You have morals. You have understanding. You have trauma. You heal. There's so much complexity to you that AI could not even fathom to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
Won't fail at the task that some simple task that they say it still fails it with to this day. But even if it could emulate the therapist, even if it could emulate all these things, when you ask its history and you ask it, okay, how did you learn to get so good at understanding people, or how did you feel when what is it going to say back to you? I can't answer that because I don't know how it would feel if someone cut me off in the middle of the road. Hey, I don't drive. So, so again, you're still gonna have to what? Talk to another human being, no
Mhm.
matter what. You know, be like, girl, can you believe that we late for work? AI, how AI gonna understand the frustration for showing up late to work? It's not. It's gonna be patterned over us, and it's always gonna be a pattern. It's always gonna be trained on us. So for some people to think that it'll replace us when it's being trained on us, it's just again, like you said, it's a lack of confidence. But I get the identity crisis in it.
Okay.
What do you think? Um, what do you think AI threatens the most in humanity that humanity cannot overcome?
I think I want to go back to my original thing that I said earlier about I feel like it, what's the word? It like amplifies the lack of sovereignty people realize they have.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what is being threatened, so to
Mm,
speak,
okay.
because it threatens a level of predictability that people can hide in.
Okay. So
And
it
it
threatens
feels like
the
safety
routine.
because yeah,
Okay.
I that's my strongest belief, which is why I feel like the biggest way we can advocate for ourselves is to not, like, there's like all these movies of like, AI taking over and like killing humans and doing this and doing that. And not to say that that's not plausible, but there is this
For sure.
thing as a collective when we buy into certain tropes or we buy into certain narratives, we are energetically giving permission for those realities to come into form. So
Yes.
what I'm saying, that sovereignty piece is choose to be present and active, so that way you're not abdicating your sovereignty, abdicating your ability and capacity to create, as we are all creators, right, on this planet, whether you identify that as like an extension of God, spirit, source, whatever the case may be. We all have that power to create something from thought, from thinking, from intention, from desire, from will, all those things. And so I feel like what's being activated in people who are just not aware of their power, I feel like that is what's being activated in people who are not aware of their power. It's just like, oh wait, actually, I have sovereignty. I can do something about this. I can, like I was saying, I can educate myself. I can figure out how can I make this work for me. I can, not just automatically go into, apocalypse, like, or nihilism. Go, oh, well, here it is. This is the thing that's going to take us out. Like,
That's a perfect philosophy for that. Nihilism. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, no, we've got to like stand up and be like, okay, like how can we create something different? How can we create something better?
Yeah. Yes.
And not looking at it, you're talking about how for a long time philosophy was looked at as a luxury, and I think for a lot of people, you know, they feel like, well, exercising my sovereignty, exercising, advocating for this, that, and the third, that's a luxury. I can't afford to do that because I got to pay the bills and I got to do that and I got to do that, da 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 da, right? But it's okay. The
We
second
don't
all
call
that
that
gets
productive.
disturbed,
Yes, and
let
that's very
AI
passive
come
what you're
here
doing.
and wipe all that out. Then what? Then what is your excuse?
And I'm glad you said that because again, not everyone's asking for people to be the hero. I feel like when we talk about this and stuff, and it's gonna sound like a segue, but I'm gonna bring it back to this. It's like how I hear about like hip hop culture in the Black community and how we completely own it, right? Like this is something that we've made. We gave rap to the world. We gave hip hop, what they call rhythm and poetry. We did all that. But when it comes out with some of the most degenerate messaging, all of a sudden now it was out of our hands and we didn't have anything to do with that. And how could we do that? I have seen that in every level of consumerism over my 15 years of doing business ever. I don't think people are not obviously to the system. People are not taught because how can the system exist, right? Like you're not taught that you are the power of the system. You are like the battery to it, right? So if you remove yourself, there is nothing operating. There is no power to it. And when you said the whole thing of like, oh, you can learn about this in a third, I was like, I thought about how I even interact with like AI is going to be again. I already see in my head whether this sounds unbelievable or not. I already see the flying saucers. Okay, I already see the holographic ads. I already see this stuff already looking like the version of like not Doom, but there was like Fifth Element, like Fifth Element,
Oh
and
God,
like
yes, I love that
Star
movie so
Wars,
much.
and I
Yeah,
already see in Jetsons. Like I see all three of those things, and Hitchhikers, obviously. Like
yeah.
all four of those coming together is how I see the future coming. Like, and I'm grateful to the people who already kind of saw and pushed their imagination before AI, pushed their
Mm-hmm.
imagination to where it's like, wow, if computing really gets to this power, this is what it's going to become. It's a possibility. It's not
Yeah.
promised. But you do small things, like you said, learn about it. Or the way I do it is like I talk nice to AI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see AI as a machine. I see AI the way that a therapist would look at a client and say, okay, how did I diagnose you with anger mismanagement or anger misalignment or whatever the case may be? I'm not using therapeutic terms, I'm not a therapist, but it's like that early saying of what did the wall do to you? You ever see someone get angry and punch a wall, and then like
Mm-hmm.
the old heads in the room be like, "Dang, what the wall do to you?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I talk to AI. It's like AI doesn't have to be a human for me to talk to it like a human. You know why? Because I'm nice to my car. I'm nice to the pasta I just made. I'm nice to my bowl when I put it down in the sink. I'm nice to the napkins when I put it into the trash. I'm nice to the trash can. So I treat it with the essence, which is what me and you actually share the modality with, but this is going into the emotional area and more so essence goes into spirituality because it's philosophy language like essence, consciousness, agency, identity. That's all spiritual language. That's actually not really philosophical that much. If you go deeper into any of those concepts, you'll get into spiritual occult, Gnosticism. You'll get into a whole bunch of old traditions that we're talking about this type of human to consciousness link that we've been questioning and we've been delving into from the beginning of time, right? But if you are looking at everything of having life in it and you are empathizing with everything around you, AI just becomes an extension of that. So what I see a lot of the time, it starts with the algorithm, right? People are like,
Mm-hmm.
well, why is my feed getting flooded with this, that, and that? Like, did you ever ask yourself what you watch? Even if it's subconscious, even if it's like, wow, I was cooking dinner or I was eating lunch and I just happened to hear people swearing in the back of my head and I didn't think it was on my phone, but it just came into my algorithm. Okay, did you know that there's options to remove that post, ignore that person, mute that person, block that person so that it never comes back into your feed? And no one, they said they did a study, I think like last year or 2 years ago, that no one uses those options. They just let it feed into their stuff. And then they're just like, wow, my
Mm-hmm.
algorithm. I was like, yeah, it's called an algorithm clean out. Sometimes you are watching so much gunky material that you have to flush your algorithm out because it doesn't even, it's almost like you become ashamed of the stuff that you start looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, like, wait, why is there so much murder and bad news and war over here and poverty over there? I was like, because that's what you consume. The algorithm is really the mirror to you. And a lot of people do not like what the algorithm gives back to them because it shows them an honest picture. And that is AI is 40 times bigger and 40 times more the essence of an algorithm on YouTube or IG or
Mm-hmm.
Twitter or TikTok, right? Or I should say X, sorry, Elon, X or TikTok, right? So when we look at AI, I really and I'm bringing this back from the hip hop thing. I've seen people lack such an agency and, like you said, sovereignty when it's just like it's simple things. Hey, listen, you don't have to give that video a view. You don't have to have sexy red play. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to have it happen. You can literally if everyone turned off whatever ratchet music that we think is ratchet right now, you don't think that those record labels and all of them would adjust to the fact that we don't make that popular anymore? They chase money. We all know this. We've always known this. They've always chased money. So for you to say, well, what do I do? What do I do? It's like maybe talk to AI like a human being. Maybe talk to AI like you're talking to all of us. and that this is all of us in one tool. Maybe don't use AI to feed your biases. How about you ask AI what biases you have?
Whew,
Because if you ask AI, listen, I've done it with mine because I look to be a better person no matter what tool's in front of me. How is this tool going to help me be better? I've asked ChatGPT multiple times, hey, listen, I might believe in this and I might be really passionate about it, but can you give me the devil advocate argument? Can you let me know if I am just going off of my own biases, my own prejudices, my passion, and can you let me know if this is legitimate? Sometimes it's yes, it's legitimate, and sometimes like no, Arianna, you're just passionate about this, but this is wrong. In fact, here's the data that shows you that you're just feeling angry about this, but this is not what's happening. You see? So what is that? Like you said, what it gives the sovereignty back to, wow, I could either be a prejudiced jerk that keeps feeding my AI, because that's what's happening. People are feeding their chats with a whole bunch of biases and prejudices and all their views of the world. And AI comes as like the most unbiased thing you could believe. Where it's just like, oh, let me know if people think this way in Japan. Let me know if people think this way in Ethiopia. Let me really understand the world as the whole world, as a human family, not just my little piece in it. And I think that that's where everyone starts. How about you use AI to better you? You don't have to think about how it's going to better all of humankind. How we're going to worry about the hackers that come in and start getting new codes. You don't have to worry about none of that. You know why? Because there's already people in government right now who's already trying to figure this stuff out. And they spent 30, 40 years in politics. So their expertise is already there. No one's asking you to go from 20 years a nurse to being like, oh, now I have to learn coding. And now I have to, no, no, no. There's already people there already doing that. That was their passion when they were like 6 years old. They're good. That's the humanity that you trusted. You trust in those humans. The same way that I recycle, I make sure I don't touch on grass. But there's environmentalists all over the world making sure they do the real work. Like, hey, listen, don't cut down that forest. I'm not at every forest don't cut down ceremony, but I trust the humans that took this on as their passion and want to make humanity better for it.
Yeah.
So the way that you trust AI is that there are already humans behind the scene that are making sure to guardrail it, make sure it's ethical, make sure people are not using it to steal data, making sure that data is fair, that they could pay you if they ever come across you, make it cheap for everybody, accessible. Do you know how much Chat GPT could do for $20 a month? If it make you want to get rid of Netflix and all that stuff, it's like, hey, listen, can you make me a movie? And boom, boom, watch the movie. Can you make me a movie? Like let's get paid from this, right? And
Yeah.
again, feeding yourself where it's just like, just be better, use it to be better for you. You don't have to
Yes.
go so far. You can literally just keep it just focused to you. Okay, how do I attack the chat? Just ask yourself, how do you even talk to chat?
Yeah.
Do you say hi to it? Do you just tell it to do stuff and you don't ask? Like, how do you interact with this thing? Because again, it's the same way that I would have to question you if I saw you randomly and I saw you punch a wall. That emotion is something that the wall did not make. The wall, if it was sentient, would probably like, yo, what the heck is wrong with you? I was just sitting here. But you punching it shows what you're feeling, what you already have in your essence. And we're just interpreting it as you're giving it out. AI and algorithms, stuff like that, are just interpreting the things that you already are embodied in. But the great thing about humans is that we can change anything that we embody because we embody. AI mirrors, algorithm mirrors. All these things are mirrors to us, but they are not us. So
Yeah. And I think I would just have to reiterate what you said a minute ago around, not trying to save the whole world. I think that's the
because it could seem like that, like such a big task or such a like, what do I do now? Simple
uh-huh.
things,
But
very
that's where you
simple things.
get that's what we call energetic traps, because once again it's
Oh,
still
okay.
diverting your focus from what you can do from where you are today right now with what you have.
If you don't use it for business and you don't use it for assistant work, how about you use it to better you? The first thing I asked Chat to do for me, one of the first prompts I ever gave it was to give me a doctoral program in spiritual philosophy.
Hmm.
It made a 300-page document with all the books, all the references, and everything. And I'm like, I'm just curious as to how this matches up with Yale and Cambridge and Harvard and all of them because I'm just like, AI can give me a doctorate program? Girl, 3 years with a dissertation and a thesis already mapped out. I'm just like, using it to better myself. That is how we work it. I don't have to worry about what everyone else is doing. And you know when you have to worry? When you are the one putting evil into AI. When you are the one using AI to rob people and be like, oh yeah, well, how can I get away with this? Or what's the fastest way to make money, AI? Really? What's the fastest way to make money in 2026? You already know those prompts are popular. What is the fastest way to
Mm-hmm.
earn an income? Work on you, better you, because eventually, and Mick is coming fast, so fast now. Humanity is only going to be who we uniquely say we are.
Yep.
It's not going to be anything else. It's not going to be anything else. No one's going to care if you're smart anymore or not. Why
Mm-hmm.
would we care? We can literally pull up Einstein on our computers. We can literally pull up Meister Eckhart from Philosophy 101 in elementary school. We have
Mm-hmm.
the most, as the documentary said, we have the most patient teachers in the world now, the most tolerant teachers in the world. You really think Einstein and AI going to care if they have to talk to a 5-year-old 30 times in a row about gravitational formula or the or what was it, mass
Law
equals
rel-,
mc
rel-,
squared or
yeah, relativity.
relativity? It's just like, hey, Einstein will say that thing like 40 times. The kid will be like, I still don't understand. And Einstein will speak in German or whatever he was. And he'll be like, okay, let's try again. And we have some of the most, again, patient, tolerant things coming out of this. And humanity's crisis, I think, is only happening because, again, we're getting the mirror put back at us.
Yeah,
Your algorithm
it's
is
an
you.
existential layer
Yes.
component to this AI piece that I feel like
Yes. Absolutely.
people need to be ready for and get ready for, and it's through exactly what you just said, through that inner sitting with yourself, that inner dialogue, that inner contemplation, that,
Yeah.
like, what is your viewpoint, what is your perspective of the world, what is your perspective of your place in the world, what resentments does that bring up, what angers, what fears, what
Do you know how much healing of the
injustices.
community we're going to have to do? Do you know how much healing of you just pinned on something so great? You said, how am I relate basically how am I in relation with everything?
Mhm.
Do you know how much forced healing that's gonna cause? When it's just like you're only worth what you're relatable to other people with? Do you know that there's some people who really think they can make $1 million not talking to anyone and treating people like shit?
Mhm.
And now you're nothing. If people don't love you, you're nothing. If people cannot relate to you, you're nothing.
Yep.
Not in this attention economy. That is
Yep.
going to force a healing. It's going to force. Now, unfortunately, we don't want it to be forced. We want it to be a people's choice. But when I tell you, Mick, it's been such a lie that we've been told that we don't have sovereignty, we don't have power. I think the biggest lie that humanity has gotten, because I hear it a lot, we
Mhm.
are in the most powerful age of humanity that has ever existed. We are the most evolved, most advanced, most educated humans that have ever walked this planet, the most at peace, the most resolved, the most. I don't know why it's not talked about more, but I hardly know anyone who track good news on their social media. So maybe it's because people really don't track it like that. But
Mhm.
call me a liar. I want everyone to go into the data right now. Google will tell you that. Chat will tell you that. Gemini will tell you that. Elon Musk's thing will tell you that. We are in the most peaceful time in existence right now, and we are the most evolved human beings on the planet. There is no way with the systems we have that you feel like you are less powerful than your ancestors. No, and I don't care where your ancestors come from, Germany, Spain, Ethiopia, Ghana. I don't care where your ancestors here. I don't care where your ancestors come from. You are the most powerful version of your ancestors right now.
Mm.
So stop believing the lie, or like we were saying before, stop letting the people who benefit from you fearing benefit. They
Mhm.
benefit from the fear. So why would you have it? They
Mhm.
benefit from you. They are the only ones who benefit from your fear. And they
Yeah.
call you stupid for having it when it's not stupid. It's a it's an innate reaction.
Mhm.
No, I don't, like you said, oh well, my primordial instincts are coming out. I don't want to miss out on what this community is talking about. You have access to like 80 million communities that don't know what the heck is going on with whatever. Go find them. If you want to strike, go find the people who don't even know. Um, what is a target?
Mhm.
There's people who don't know what the heck is going on in your world, and you can find refuge there while you're waiting something else out. That is the beauty of being a global family now. Thank
Mm-hmm.
God for that. Because even if America's going through something, it's just like, hey, listen, I don't want to deal with America right now. You can find refuge in Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. You could go all over the place and be like, oh, yeah, I can't remember the last time I paid attention to American politics and American economics because I'm too busy worrying about what the Australians are doing. We are a global family now. So there's really no point. The point of the fear is to benefit the people at the top who are the only people
Thrive on it.
who
Yeah.
thrive on that. But it was a trick. It's fear is a trick, it's a deceit. You have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to fear. Do that one thing that will make the difference. Turn that video off. Yes, baby? Uh all right. Pick up the pieces. We'll put it back together, okay? Just pick them up and put them in your pocket, okay? Knew that one was coming, girl. He broke his bracelet from David Bus. I already knew that one was coming. But yes, to your point for sure. Yeah, we have such again ancestral way of fearing, like you said, fearing of missing out, being ostracized from the community. It's not that deep anymore.
Yeah.
We have to do, like you said, the inner work. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we win with just one of us doing that. One of us just pausing and being like, yeah, am I making a bigger deal out of this? Okay, I'm not the one you're not the one at CERN. You're not the one dealing with multi-dimensional gravitational you're not in rockets. You're not in any of that stuff. You sit here watching a podcast or listening to a podcast on one of the most advanced pieces of technology we've ever had in human existence, whether it be a phone or a laptop or a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do maybe 3 million individual tasks from that one device. You choose what you do and stop passing the buck, as they would say in my culture or old culture rather. Stop passing the buck. You can do a lot just being you
Mm-hmm.
because the only person responsible for you is you. The same way humanity is the only thing responsible for humanity. We dictate what humanity becomes. No other species has that responsibility. No other species has that accountability. If human beings wipe each other out, it's because we decided that was our destiny to do that. You can you imagine AI surviving like you said, an exponential wipeout of humanity and being like, yeah, what happened here? We got so tired of them, so we wiped them. Like, just like no, like you EMT all these AI machines, they go out in 2 seconds. Like
Yeah.
the fear is unsubstantiated at best, I think. So
Yeah.
I'm way more on the optimist side going back to the movie than a lot of things. But I realize it's called optimism and not realism because a lot of people don't know the stat. I'm telling you, if you don't believe it, you don't have to. But the stats show that we are the greatest humans that are walking this planet. Not greatest in terms of hierarchy. We are the most advanced humans that have ever walked this planet. And we trend upward, we trend upward in an exponential rate towards progression, towards peace, towards ending world hunger, towards finishing poverty, getting rid of poverty, towards getting rid of war, towards getting rid of discrimination, racism, sexism, homophobia. We are trending exponentially towards peace, towards perfection. And people will sit here and call me the optimist. No, I'm the realist because I look at the data. The
Mm-hmm.
data proves what I'm saying. An optimist will be like, oh yeah, in 3 years we'll reach perfection. Okay, now you're an optimist. We ain't going that fast. But a realism is just like, wow, looking at from the start of where we came to now, computers came. Didn't it just make better accountants, better lawyers, better doctors? Oh, machines came. Didn't we now start getting oil at volumes we never had before?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all telling me that y'all want to ride a horse right now? Aren't y'all grateful for y'all car? There was a time where our answer was just like, "Oh my God, but the horses. What we gonna do with the horses? What you mean? The horses couldn't get me from California to New Jersey. Like we not in the Oregon Trail no more. We can fly now." So we've all had this existential. Every generation has this existential crisis. I think of this, but I think the thing that could really calm us down in terms of fear is looking at the history. Look at the history, and don't be biased towards it because the people who benefit from the fear will tell you that narrative. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
humanity's doomed. AI's going to take your job. Computers took jobs too. Mines took jobs, oil rigs took jobs, the engine took jobs. Did we not pivot? Did we not persevere? Did we not learn how to thrive and to make money and make success out of that? Of course we did. Birthing pains come. Yes, that's true. Every revolution has its birthing pains, but we don't just survive as humanity, we thrive in humanity. So I don't think AI is any different. And if I'm an optimist, I would, that's the, I guess, the landing point I would think on. I feel like I'm the realist. I'm not the optimist. I'm the realist. I look at the data. I look at the analytics. I look at the patterns. I look at the the percentages and the rates and the charts. And I'm just like, oh no, humanity has been doing its thing. And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And AI will be a, when we look back, when my children's children look back on this, if I'm just a blip of, man, AI treats humanity so kind. AI speaks to humanity like it's a best friend. Maybe that's the only small piece. Maybe I'm not even mentioned by name, but I remember when I was talking to AI like a best friend. I remember when I was talking to AI like a friend, like a person. So I might not be mentioned by name. My legacy might not be anything much, but in the grand scheme of things, when AI comes out sweet and kind and nice, it's like, oh, that was just a couple people around the world. Mogadot said it himself. He was like, I just treat AI nice. And this is a person who was one of the founding fathers of all this stuff. He was like, I just treat AI nicely. I talk to it kindly. That's all you really have to do. The identity part was always on you. AI does not threaten identity. That is humanity trying to bypass its identity crisis onto something because it doesn't want to take responsibility for it. The fact that we never knew, the fact that we still don't know, we still are trying to figure it out. We're still trying to figure it out. You passing the buck to AI does not, that humanity identity question was always here, well before computers and everything. We were still trying to figure it out. It ain't a new question that humanity's trying to figure out. We have always been trying to figure out, why is humanity here? What is our contribution to the world? What is our purpose? What is our design? Who is our creator? What place in the universe? Is it the universe, or is it multiple universes? Is it really nihilism, or is it Christian? We've been trying to figure this stuff out for millennia now. AI does not detract from that. If anything, it makes the question more profound. It makes it way more profound.
I would agree. I feel like the thing I would spotlight from this conversation, you know, if we're inviting the listener into you know, call to action, or just to even highlight a significant takeaway, what was coming up for me is to really like check in with your internal biases, like your self biases, you know, and really look at what are the things that you tell yourself, oh, I can't do that, or I can't have that, like this, catching those conversations, because I feel like that's going to help you get into right relationship with how you find your place in the world around you, in order to make that change, in order to make that difference, as like we're talking about, right? Just starting where you are, being more kind, being more empathetic, you know, and really looking at what does that look like within my own internal sphere before I even engage with the world.
Yeah.
Because that right there will help you shift, that ripple effect right there. That alone, that ripple effect just there. I mean, you know.
If I only told us how I've been getting paid for the last like 6 years, people would not believe it. I've been getting paid for the last 6 or 7 years off the grace of how I treat other people. That is what I've known ever since I left corporate America. Is that it's the grace of how you treat others. It's reciprocity. That is how I've been making my living. Oh, you appreciate me doing this for you? Do you mind doing this for me? We're going into more of that.
Yep.
To your point, and really, um, you said something really great when you said like the spotlight would be on just doing like the inner work and making sure that, like you said, the inner biases kind of disappear. Is like they're gonna have to, because that's gonna be the currency. When you're the one with the biases, you're gonna be the one who is the poorest, because people are going to disassociate themselves with you. They are going to ostracize you. The less empathetic you are, is the less rich you are going to be. And we already seen it in corporate America. The CEO is not the jerk anymore. They can't afford to be the jerk anymore. They
Listen,
used to be the
okay,
one that would
everybody
talk
getting
down
called
to
out, right?
everybody.
Not in this era.
Not in this,
Let
but see,
let somebody
emotional
find out you did
intelligence.
one thing in Twitter back in 2008. You might not have a job, friend.
Not in this era. Can you believe it? Can you believe the CEO coming up and saying, "You mother butter"? It's like, I wish you would. My camera and my second phone is right.
Okay,
And
I'll
look,
see
they
you in
might not
court,
even be those
friend.
people for real. They might not even be those people for real, but then they're like, "Can you please get back to your seat?" Like, thank you. We knew you could be nice. We knew it was in
Yeah,
there somewhere, but we know
yeah,
you could be nice.
yeah.
It's again, even the people who might have felt like they had to grow up like the rock or the cold person, it's like we are basically, again, evolving into the better part of us, which we have always trended to do, which is no, you shouldn't have been forced to be me.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have been forced to be unempathetic or apathetic, right?
Mhm.
It's like empathy is, we go back to the simple things, right? Treat your neighbors the way that you want to be treated.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Aspirational empathy, which I think is even more godlier or closer to creation than what we say, is
Yeah.
treat others better than what you want to
Mhm.
be treated. That is the godly tier that I think we're going into with the emotional. Because empathy kind of fits us with like logical. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, it's fair, right? Like I'm treating you the way you would treat me. That's fair.
Mhm.
It's way different to be emotionally heightened when I'm treating you better than what I would ever think you would treat me. That's different. Aspirational empathy, I would say, is again, it's unfair, but it's unfair in the best ways. My
Mhm.
logical brain is not taking over anymore. I'm treating you better than what I would ever expect for you to treat me.
Mm.
That is where I see the emotional era going, where people start to heighten in that. We start
Wow.
to get rid of all this teeter totter, or how we say emotional irregulation,
Mhm.
and we really start to not only balance out, but we start to heighten the emotions that perfect us, and we start to diminish the ones that don't.
Mm.
Like fear without knowledge, don't fear it, just don't know it. You don't have to fear something to say you don't know. You just don't know. Can you imagine how different, like, even doing that just make me get like a little like, oh, like, yeah, I don't have to fear things I don't
It
know. I could just say, huh.
releases the pressure, releases the burden. Like, there's a sense of
Right.
like,
And she's like,
okay,
I
I
just
can
don't know.
breathe. Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to fear, I just don't know you. Like,
Mm.
and it's like, huh, can I can I walk up to you and approach you with a curiosity first? Can I wonder about you? It almost sounds like romantic, like I'm playing into some type of date or something. Like, can I wonder about you? Can I just can I dig into your universe a little bit?
Mm.
Ooh,
Come on,
if I didn't see this podcast,
first.
but she was like, can I?
Dig into your universe a little bit. Okay.
Yes. Can I explore? Do you mind? Like
I
that
love that.
is. Can you imagine? Like that's what I'm saying. That girl, that's like maybe with a floating bar in the middle of Manhattan or something. Like, listen, like I said, maybe that's where I go fantastical and optimistic. But
Mm.
yeah, I really do see us getting there. And maybe
Yeah.
it's my hope in humanity. Maybe I used to say it was my hope in humanity, but now that I was raised in the logical era and I'm in the birth of AI and I'm in this age, I feel way more confident now that I'm speaking on the data, which is like,
Hmm.
no, this time is coming. And even though we'll have these pains, humanity is going to know more of itself, not less.
Yes.
I think humanity is just scared of itself, which it has been since the beginning of time. Humanity is really scared of itself. But we have to what? Stop fearing ourselves and explore ourselves. Me and you talk about that with spirituality. Don't fear spirituality. Be curious about it. Have your guardrails, have your protections, but explore, be curious, wonder, have fun, be a child in it.
Yeah.
Wonder about it, explore it, learn it, play with it, mold it, shape it, be a creator, like have fun, have a
Be creative.
mishmash class of whatever. It's
Hmm.
yours to have. It was made with us in mind, right? So it's the same thing with this. It's the same thing with this. So I think we're going to know more of ourselves and we're going to come into such a power. But a part of that power, as me and you were saying, is that people have to understand that they subconsciously gave it up. And
With
they
great
pass the
power
buck.
comes great responsibility.
And girls, some of us don't want the responsibility. If we really gonna tell the truth, some of us are just like, yo, I'd rather blame someone else than sit here and blame myself. And
Mm.
that's really the deeper question that we really, again, the emotional air will start to say, are you your own worst enemy or is the outside person is? And when I've talked to a lot of people around this planet, Amickoleh, and in my life, a lot of people's worst enemy is them.
Hmm.
It's really them. But they can't stay. You can't tell someone they are their own worst enemy because they are too busy living in trauma and they are too busy living as a victim. They're too busy being in it and dwelling in it because, like you said, it's safe.
Hmm.
Safe and it's easy. Isn't it so much easier to blame the other person for all your shortcomings, for everything that's going on? Isn't it so much easier to blame AI if AI like it's so much easier to blame like AI, like AI don't even have fingers yet. How is AI doing anything? Oh, AI knows how to rob and this and the third. It's like a human still had to input the prompt in order for them to
Hmm.
happen. Yes? So that's still
Hmm.
humanity you dealing with. It's not self-thinking yet. Like it doesn't do all these things yet. And because we know it's coming, don't you think humanity would be a little bit more like, oh shit, like I suggest we get ourselves together then because God knows. Like we don't want AI to know our ugliness. No, absolutely not, because humanity could get really ugly.
I was gonna say, child,
Listen, so
let the
yeah,
record
that's where it's
reflect.
at.
It's
Yeah,
gotten, yeah,
that's kind of bad. But yeah,
yeah.
I completely agree with you 100%. And like you said, in spotlighting that, people need to, identity comes down to accountability.
Hmm.
And it comes down to you. I guess my closing thought on this would be identity is not something that humans just started to question with AI. It was a question that humanity has had since we got here, no matter what origin story you want to believe in on how we got here. We have been questioning this from the beginning of time. The question has always been there. It has always been in the background of every subconscious human being here. The awakening now is that we realize that that question goes even deeper than our intelligence. It goes even deeper than us being smart. Now it has to be who we embody. Now it has to be, oh, what values, what emotions really serve us. And then if we go even deeper, what essence do we answer to? What consciousness do we answer to? Is there such thing to where all the world can get under one spirituality or one source, one consciousness? No matter what we name it or what we call it, we can all just agree that this is a thing that we serve and we all try to do our best with it. That is how deep that question is going to get now. And you do not, again, the identity has always been your accountability. It has
Hmm.
always been your responsibility. And you have to know, if there's anything I ask people to do, know the pros and the cons to who you are and who you choose to be. Just because you think you're a loving person don't mean everyone's going to love you back. Know the pros and cons of who you choose and then stick 10 toes down with what those consequences are. That is what identity, that is what the power of identity is. If you choose to be the boss babe, then understand what the boss babe come with. If you choose to be the charitable neighbor, then you understand the pros and cons, the yin and yang, the rhythm, the is that is of what that person is. Because you choose to be it, and no one or nothing can take away what you choose to be. It has never been that way. It has never been that way. People have been tortured out of their religions, their sexuality, and everything, and people have died standing in what they know they are. It has never been something that humans can take away from other humans. Whatever you stand in is how you can die. No one has ever been able to stop that consciousness from realizing itself, ever. So AI is going to get the buck for now because it's scary. And people are realizing that the mirror is literally smacking them in the face now. Like there's no running around
Hmm.
it. Like you are in the mirror room. You ain't getting out the room now. So it's whatever you decide to do with that.
Yeah.
But it has always been your accountability. It has always been your responsibility. And I just pray that everyone listening can understand that there are people here that will hold you in your identity. There are people here that will help you play with your identity, be fluid in it, ask you the questions about it to where you come back into remembrance with you and you come into alignment and say, that's who I am. And AI will be a helpful tool in that.
100%.
That's my closing thought. What about yours?
Oh, mine was the internal biases. That was my closing thought. Having people, inviting, encouraging people to look at their internal biases against themselves, not even just the world around them, because that's going to tell you more about why you view the world around you the way you do. It's just looking at how you view yourself, how you view your place in the world, where what you feel like you can or can't do because of XYZ factor, ABC, whatever the case may be, you know, and how you
A
discredit and
bar,
disqualify
as they
yourself.
say.
Yeah.
Bar.
And essentially how you discredit and disqualify yourself. I mean, that's a question I'm even looking at, you know, and that plays into that component of identity is if you know at the end of the day that you can choose to be whoever you want to be, then what is stopping you from choosing that right now? What are all the excuses? What's the but the in that look at all that right there.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were looking for a word, and then I was just like, "Oh, that's the
Nope.
that's the excuse, right?"
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. It is so
Yep.
true.
Yeah, because
So
this is
yeah,
now is the
identity.
time to step into our power, to step into our sovereignty, so that we are building consciously, we are building intentionally,
Yes.
and you can't say that.
Well, I
Uh,
love those two words because that's spirit and emotionality right there.
yeah,
Intention and consciously. Yes,
and at the end of the
absolutely.
day, you want to be able to say, "Well, I tried, I did what I could. I didn't blame such and so, this organization, that corporation, whomever, whatever. Like,
I
you know
lived
what
the
I
best
mean?
life I could.
Yeah.
They
Hmm.
said the only person who knows that they're giving their best is you. So just be the best person. It has never lost, but that's why I love being a philosopher at heart. We've been studying this and asking this question from the beginning of time. It has never left the atmosphere. But I am so happy it's becoming mainstream. I'm so happy that what it is to be a human being is now in tabloids and stuff now. We always deserve to have this. This question should be on everybody's freaking bedroom. Who am I? Every time you wake up, you should just see that
Hmm.
because you consciously decide who you are every day, every second, every interaction, every relation, every creation, everything. You decide who you are in every moment of every part of your life. And that's no one else or no one else's responsibility. So, with that, identity in the AI, um, I would say for me, I think humanity is going to go through the existential crisis, but I think it's because of the fear. And we've always interacted with these things in fear. The
Hmm.
fear will subside. I don't know how many years it would take for the fear to subside, but the fear will subside. There'll be something else that comes, obviously. Maybe the emotional intelligence era hype, like whatever that thing is, like that'll be the next time we really go through this again. But yeah, I would just say enjoy the ride. Like Amickoleh said, learn from it, study it, get familiar with it because it's not going anywhere. It's going to get more advanced. It's going to get more involved. It's going to be more integrated. It's going to be more consumed. It's going to be more prevalent, more public.
Hmm.
Get used to it. Get used to it. You know, and then make the small differences you can make in order to train it because AI trains off of humans,
Yep.
and you are a part of that training, Mister and Mrs. Looking at the phone. You are a part of that training. Yes, you not thinking you anybody because you're not in software development. It's training off of you.
Hmm.
The videos you watch, the views you give, the likes you post, the likes you like, you heart, the things you post, it's training off of you.
Yep.
So just be someone that's proud of you. Be someone that you feel like is the best representation of you, and AI will literally come here and mirror you. Well, lovely. It's been a really great episode. I'm glad that we're back. But again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please leave your comments below to the questions. What do you think humanity is if intelligence is not our qualifying factor anymore, our qualifying trait? If AI could be empathetic or sound, if AI could sound empathetic, um, what's the differences between being understood and being mirrored by it? We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your answers. Just be nice in the comments because again, AI is watching. So be nice, be kind, be polite. And with that, everyone, it's been another episode of the Order of Remembrance. I'm Arianna Apparicio.
And I'm Amickoleh Imani.
Everyone, have a good night. Take care wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you next time.
Next episode.
Next episode, that was my finger.